the song of the waves. Each evening as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of rose and gold, Marie walked along the seashore. The ocean had always been her companion, its rhythmic waves a soothing lullaby to her soul. But lately, something had changed. It started with a flicker. A glimmer of light, like moonlight on a silver blade, darting just beneath the surface of the water. At first, she thought it was the reflection of the setting sun, but then she saw them. Shapes, elusive and swift, leaping briefly over the waves before vanishing into the depths. Marie's curiosity grew stronger with each passing day. She began timing her walks with their appearances. As she observed, she noticed a pattern: they always arrived when the tide was high and the moon was a crescent in the sky. Fascinated, she lingered longer each evening, hoping for a closer look. Then, one evening, they revealed themselves. The water shimmered unnaturally, glowing faintly as if lit from within. From the rolling waves emerged figures unlike any she had ever seen. Some had shimmering tails, their scales catching the moonlight in a kaleidoscope of colors. Others bore the sleek, serpentine grace of sea dragons, their movements fluid and mesmerizing. They hovered near the shore, their luminous eyes fixed on her with a mix of curiosity and caution. Marie felt no fear, only wonder. She waved tentatively. One of the creatures, a mermaid with a cascading mane of emerald green hair, raised a webbed hand in return. That small gesture broke the invisible barrier between them. Night after night, Marie returned. The creatures began to draw closer, their initial wariness melting away. The green-haired mermaid, whom Marie came to call Kilia, became her closest companion. Kilia was unlike the fairy-tale mermaids of legend. Her features were sharp, her skin tinged with a pearlescent sheen, and her tail ended in fin-like wings that fanned out as she swam. One evening, Kilia brought Marie a gift, a large, iridescent shell shaped like a spiral. When Marie held it to her ear, she could hear the sea's eternal song. "This is for you," Kilia said in a voice that sounded like the hum of the waves. Marie was astonished. "You can speak?" Kilia smiled. "We can do many things. But we've kept our distance from your kind for generations. You seem different. You listen to the sea." From that day on, their friendship deepened. Kilia introduced Marie to the others. There was Mela, a triton with coral-like horns and a voice that could mimic the cry of the gulls, Syria, a sleek mermaid whose body glimmered like polished obsidian, and Tyron, a serpent-like sea creature who coiled and swirled through the water with effortless grace. It was Tyron who one day gave Marie a warning. "You walk the shore too freely, little human. Not all who tread these sands are kind." Marie frowned, puzzled. "What do you mean?" "There are those who would seek to harm us," Tyron continued. "Fishermen with their nets. Sorcerers who covet our magic. You should tread carefully." Marie promised to be vigilant, but she couldn't stay away. Over time, the bond she shared with the sea creatures became something magical. They taught her their songs, showed her the hidden treasures of the ocean, and even invited her to swim in their company. Kilia handed her a pearl one night. "Swallow this," she urged. Marie hesitated but trusted her friend. As the pearl dissolved on her tongue, she felt a strange transformation. Her lungs burned briefly, then adjusted. Kilia laughed delightedly and pulled her into the water. For the first time, Marie swam beneath the waves, breathing as easily as the merfolk. The underwater world was like nothing she could have imagined. Gardens of kelp swayed with the currents, schools of glowing fish darted like stars in the twilight, and the sea floor was littered with the remnants of sunken ships. Years passed, and Marie's friendship with the merfolk grew into something akin to kinship. She learned of their rituals, their stories, and their fears. They spoke of a looming threat, a clan of surface dwellers who sought to exploit the ocean's secrets. The night Marie saw a fleet of ships with glowing lanterns on the horizon, she knew the time had come to repay her friends' trust. But what she did to protect them, and what it cost her, was a tale yet to be told. This was merely the beginning of a bond that would reshape both their worlds forever. Chapter 2: The Secrets Beneath. The fleet of ships loomed on the horizon for days, their lanterns flickering like ominous stars against the darkened skies. At first, Marie hoped they were harmless fishing vessels, but the uneasy whispers of her merfolk friends told her otherwise. Kilia swam alongside Marie in the shallows one evening, her usual radiant demeanor dimmed with worry. "They're not here for fish, Marie. Those ships belong to the Iron Tides, a group of surface dwellers who've hunted us for centuries. They seek our treasures, our songs, and our lives." Marie's chest tightened. "But why? What could they want from you?" "Our voices can enchant," Kilia explained. "Our pearls and scales hold magic. Even the essence of our lives, our aura as they call it, fuels their spells. They take everything they can, and leave nothing but pain." Marie clenched her fists. She couldn't stand the thought of harm coming to her friends. "Is there a way to stop them?" "There might be," Kilia said hesitantly. "But it's dangerous." The next morning, Marie stood on the shore as Tyron emerged, his serpent-like body coiling through the waves. Beside him floated Syria, her dark eyes reflecting a solemn intensity. "We've discussed it," Tyron said, his voice deep and resonant. "There is a relic, hidden in the trench of Moira. It could protect us." Marie frowned. "A relic? What kind of relic?" "A shard of the Tempest Pearl," Tyron replied. "It's said to summon the Guardian of the Abyss, a powerful entity sworn to defend the sea. But retrieving it is no simple task. The trench is guarded by creatures far older and fiercer than even us." Syria's voice was a soft whisper, like the hiss of a wave retreating over sand. "The trench is perilous, Marie. Few who venture there return." Marie's heart raced, but she squared her shoulders. "You've all shown me so much kindness. If this is what it takes to protect you, I'll go." Tyron tilted his head, studying her. "You are brave, Landwalker. But this journey will test your spirit and your bond with the sea." Kilia swam up, her hands clutching Marie's tightly. "I won't let her go alone. I'll guide her through the depths." The journey to the trench of Moira began under a moonless sky. Marie swallowed another enchanted pearl, the magic now familiar in its transformation, and followed her friends into the ocean's depths. The waters grew colder and darker as they descended. The sunlight faded until only the glow of bioluminescent creatures lit their way. Strange shapes flitted in the shadows, spiraled eels, translucent jellyfish, and massive, slow-moving leviathans whose eyes gleamed like lanterns. Kilia led the way, her fin wings cutting through the water gracefully. Marie swam close behind, her movements awkward but determined. Tyron and Syria flanked her, their watchful presence a comfort. Hours passed. The ocean floor fell away into a yawning abyss, its edges lined with jagged coral and swaying anemones. The trench of Moira loomed below, a chasm so deep it seemed to stretch into the heart of the earth. "The shard lies within," Tyron said, his voice grave. "Stay close. This place is alive, and it does not welcome intruders." Marie's pulse quickened as they descended into the trench. The walls were covered in pulsating sea plants, and faint echoes of eerie, whale-like songs resonated through the water. Suddenly, a shadow darted past them, quick and silent. Then another. Marie turned, her heart pounding. Kilia! She gasped. Kilia spun around just as a creature lunged from the darkness. It was a serpent-like monster, its body covered in rough scales and its eyes glowing with malevolent light. Before it could strike, Tyron coiled around it with incredible speed, his strength crushing the beast. "They know we're here," Syria whispered. More creatures emerged from the shadows, their shrieks echoing through the trench. Marie grabbed a sharp shard of coral from the wall and swung it at one of the attackers, the impact sending vibrations up her arm. Beside her, Kilia unleashed a piercing scream that rippled through the water, disorienting the creatures. "Go!" Tyron roared. "The shard is close." Marie swam as fast as she could, following Kilia deeper into the trench. Ahead, a faint glow emanated from a crevice in the rocks. The shard of the Tempest Pearl lay nestled there, its light pulsing like a heartbeat. Reaching out, Marie grasped the shard. It was warm, almost alive, and as soon as her fingers closed around it, a surge of energy coursed through her body. The trench began to quake. "The Guardian!" Syria cried. "You've awakened it." From the depths of the chasm, a massive figure emerged. Its body was formed of swirling water and shimmering light, its eyes like twin whirlpools. It let out a low, resonant roar that shook the sea. Marie held up the shard, her voice trembling. "We mean no harm. Please, help us protect your ocean." The Guardian paused, its massive form hovering in the water. Slowly, it lowered its head, and a deep voice rumbled through the water. "Your courage is noted, Landwalker. The Tempest Pearl's power will shield the seas, but its magic demands a price." Marie hesitated. "What price?" The Guardian's gaze bore into her. "You must become one with the sea. To wield its power, you must leave the surface world behind." Marie's heart ached at the thought of never returning to her village, her family, the life she had known. But as she looked at Kilia, Tyron, Syria, and the ocean teeming with life, she knew her choice. "I'll do it," she said firmly. The Guardian's form dissolved into the water, its energy flowing into the shard. The artifact pulsed brighter, and Marie felt her body change. Her legs fused together, forming a shimmering tail, and her senses sharpened to the ebb and flow of the ocean. Kilia embraced her. "You're one of us now." Marie looked back at the trench, the darkness now a place of secrets she could explore rather than fear. The Tempest Pearl's magic surged, creating a protective barrier that spread across the waters, shielding the merfolk from the encroaching threat of the iron tides. As Marie swam alongside her friends, she knew her life had changed forever. She had found a new home beneath the waves, and with it, a purpose greater than she had ever imagined. Chapter 3: The Song of Two Worlds. Marie had embraced her new life beneath the waves, but the transformation came with challenges she had not anticipated. Though her body was now suited to the sea, her heart still held ties to the surface, a tether to a world she could no longer touch. The Tempest Pearl's magic thrummed within her, and her every movement sent ripples of power through the ocean. The merfolk regarded her with awe, and even Tyron, usually so composed, bowed his head when she passed. "You carry the seas will now," Kilia explained one day as they rested in the coral gardens. "The pearl has chosen you as its keeper. The ocean itself will bend to your song if you learn how to wield it." Marie nodded, but doubt crept into her mind. She had gained so much, yet she felt like an outsider in this vibrant, alien world. The other merfolk were born of the sea, their movements fluid and effortless, their songs harmonizing with the currents. Marie's voice felt small and clumsy in comparison. "Do you regret your choice?" Kilia asked, her emerald eyes searching Marie's face. "No," Marie said softly. "But I feel unworthy. Like I don't truly belong." Kilia smiled, her sharp features softening. "The sea chose you for a reason, Marie. Trust it. Trust yourself." Weeks passed, and Marie worked tirelessly to master the Tempest Pearl's power. Under Kilia's guidance, she learned to shape the currents with a flick of her tail and summon schools of fish with a whisper. But her most significant test came one fateful evening when the iron tides returned. The fleet had grown. Dozens of ships now dotted the horizon, their hulls reinforced with iron and their nets glinting with enchanted runes. At their prows stood sorcerers cloaked in dark robes, their staffs glowing with stolen magic. Kilia, Tyron, and Syria met with Marie near the reef. The tension in the water was palpable. "They've come prepared," Tyron growled, his coiled body tense. "They know about the barrier and seek to shatter it." "We can't let them," Syria said, her voice trembling. "If they break through, they'll destroy everything." Marie clenched her fists. The Tempest Pearl's power pulsed within her, urging her to act. "I'll confront them. If they seek the sea's magic, they'll face its keeper." Kilia's eyes widened. "You can't go alone." "I won't be alone," Marie said, her gaze sweeping over her friends. "The ocean is with us. And together, we'll protect it." As the fleet approached, Marie swam to the forefront, her heart pounding. The Tempest Pearl glowed at her chest, its light casting an eerie radiance through the water. Behind her, the merfolk assembled, a shimmering army of tails and fins, their voices rising in a hauntingly beautiful song. The sorcerers on the ships chanted spells, their magic lashing out like whips of fire and ice. The barrier shimmered under the assault, cracks spidering across its surface. Marie raised her hands, and the Tempest Pearl flared to life. The waves obeyed her command, rising into towering walls of water that crashed against the ships. The sea itself seemed to roar in defiance, but the sorcerers countered with spells that froze the waves mid-surge. Kilia darted forward, her voice slicing through the chaos. Her siren's song wove through the water, disorienting the invaders. Tyron and Syria led the charge, smashing through enchanted nets and disabling the ship's rudders. Despite their efforts, the iron tides were relentless. One of the sorcerers, a man with silver hair and piercing black eyes, stepped forward. His staff glowed with dark energy, and with a wave of his hand, he shattered the barrier. The shockwave rippled through the water, knocking Marie back. She felt the Tempest Pearl's power falter, its energy struggling to hold the sea's magic together. "You cannot stand against us, girl," the sorcerer bellowed. "The sea's power belongs to us now." Marie's chest burned with determination. She swam forward, her voice rising in a song that came from deep within her soul. It wasn't the practiced melodies of the merfolk but something raw and human, a song of hope, of defiance, of unity. The Tempest Pearl responded. Its light surged, and the ocean around Marie came alive. Currents swirled with unstoppable force, breaking the ship's formation. Whirlpools formed, dragging the invaders into the depths. The sorcerer snarled, his staff aimed at Marie. A bolt of dark magic shot toward her, but Kilia intercepted it, her body glowing with a protective aura. "No!" Marie cried, her song faltering as Kilia sank. But the Tempest Pearl's magic wouldn't allow her to fall. Its energy enveloped Kilia, healing her wounds and lifting her back into the fray. The sorcerer's confidence faltered. What are you? I am the sea's keeper, Marie said, her voice ringing with newfound strength. And you will never take what belongs to it. With one final surge of power, the Tempest Pearl unleashed a wave of light that swept across the ocean. The ships were pushed back, their enchantments unraveled. The sorcerers, overwhelmed by the sea's fury, retreated. The merfolk erupted into cheers, their voices echoing through the water. Marie turned to her friends, her heart swelling with relief and gratitude. You did it, Kilia said, her emerald eyes shining. We did it, Marie corrected, smiling. In the days that followed, the ocean seemed to hum with renewed life. The barrier, strengthened by the Tempest Pearl, became an unbreakable shield. The merfolk honored Marie as their hero, but she remained humble, knowing she could not have succeeded without them. Still, Marie couldn't shake the feeling that the battle was only the beginning. The iron tides had been driven back, but their hunger for the sea's magic would not be easily quenched. As she gazed out at the horizon, Marie resolved to become stronger. She would learn all she could about the sea's magic and its secrets. For the ocean was her home now, and she would protect it with everything she had. Unbeknownst to her, far beyond the horizon, the defeated sorcerer stood in the shadows of a vast, stormy cavern. Before him loomed an ancient artifact, a broken trident glowing faintly with dark energy. The sea may have its keeper, the sorcerer muttered. But we will reclaim what was stolen. The abyss will rise. And so, the song of two worlds continued, a harmony of courage and danger, love and loss, magic and humanity. Marie's journey was far from over. Chapter 4, The Whispering Abyss. In the months following the battle with the iron tides, Marie's life beneath the waves settled into a fragile peace. She grew more adept at wielding the Tempest Pearl's magic, her bond with the ocean deepening with each passing day. The merfolk no longer saw her as an outsider but as one of their own. Kilia remained her closest companion, and together they explored the hidden wonders of the sea. Yet, the ocean was never still. Strange occurrences began to ripple through its depths, currents flowing in unnatural patterns, schools of fish fleeing areas they once thrived, and a deep hum emanating from the abyssal zones, felt more than heard. One evening, as Marie and Kilia drifted in the kelp forests, Tyron approached, his serpent-like body coiled with tension. Marie, he said, his voice low. I've just returned from the abyssal rim. Something stirs in the depths. Marie frowned, the Tempest Pearl warming against her chest as if responding to his words. What did you see? Shadows, Tyron said. Massive, ancient shadows. And I heard whispers, voices calling from the trench of Moira. Kilia's expression darkened. The trench. That place hasn't stirred since we retrieved the shard. Until now, Tyron replied. A chill ran through Marie. The Tempest Pearl's light dimmed slightly, as if mirroring her unease. We need to investigate. If something is rising from the trench, it could threaten the entire ocean. Kilia hesitated. The trench of Moira is dangerous even in peace. If it's awakened, we'll need more than courage. Tyron nodded. The abyss calls for answers. But we won't go unprepared. The journey to the trench of Moira felt heavier this time, laden with an air of foreboding. Marie, Kilia, Tyron, and Syria were joined by a dozen other merfolk warriors, each bearing weapons fashioned from enchanted coral and obsidian. As they approached the trench, the water grew colder, the light fading until even the bioluminescent creatures seemed reluctant to linger. The Tempest Pearl glowed brighter, casting long, wavering shadows against the trench walls. Marie felt the whispers before she heard them, soft, insistent murmurs brushing against her mind like the pull of an undertow. "Do you hear that?" she asked. The others nodded, their expressions tense. "It's calling to you," Syria said, her dark eyes wary. "The tempest pearl resonates with whatever lies below." They descended cautiously, the trench's walls closing around them like the jaws of some ancient beast. The whispers grew louder, forming fragments of words in a language Marie didn't recognize. Yet, somehow, she understood. "Keeper, return, complete the song." "What are they saying?" Kilia asked, noticing Marie's distant gaze. "They're calling me the keeper," Marie murmured. "They want me to complete something." Before anyone could respond, a tremor shook the trench. From the darkness ahead emerged a shape, massive and menacing, its body coiled like smoke and shadow. The creature had no discernible face, but its presence was overwhelming. It moved like liquid darkness, its tendrils stretching out to block their path. "Leave this place," the entity boomed, its voice reverberating through the water. "The abyss is not yours to command." Marie stepped forward, her fear tempered by determination. "I am the keeper of the Tempest Pearl. If you threaten the ocean, I have no choice but to stop you." The entity stilled, its tendrils retreating slightly. "Keeper," it echoed. "The pearl binds you to the sea, but it blinds you to its truth. The ocean's power is not yours to wield, it is ours to reclaim." "What do you mean?" Marie demanded. The creature's form shifted, its tendrils weaving together to form a colossal figure. The abyss was once the heart of the ocean's magic, long before the Tempest Pearl fractured its power. "You have inherited a broken legacy, Keeper. Return the shard, and we shall restore balance." Marie hesitated, the Tempest Pearl pulsing as if in protest. "If I give up the shard, what will happen to the ocean? To the merfolk? Their fates are tied to the pearl," the entity said. "But the sea existed long before they did. Its true essence lies in the abyss, waiting to be freed." Kilia swam beside Marie, her expression fierce. "Don't listen to it. The abyss is a place of destruction, not balance. If we give it the shard, it could unleash forces we can't control." Tyron coiled protectively in front of Marie. "This creature speaks in half-truths. The abyss is ancient, but it is not benevolent. Its whispers have lured many to their doom." Marie's mind swirled with doubt. The Tempest Pearl felt heavier against her chest, its magic buzzing with uncertainty. She looked at the entity, its massive form still and watchful. "If I return the shard, will you promise to protect the ocean and all who call it home?" she asked. The creature's silence was telling. "I thought so," Marie said, her voice steady now. "You don't seek balance, you seek dominion." The entity roared, its tendrils lashing out. The merfolk warriors surged forward, their weapons glowing with magic as they clashed with the creature's shadowy form. Marie held the Tempest Pearl aloft, its light piercing through the darkness. "You will not claim the ocean," she cried, pouring her will into the pearl. The shard flared with blinding light, its magic weaving through the water like a storm. The entity howled as the light tore through it, scattering its form into fragments. The trench trembled, its walls cracking as the shadows receded. The whispers faded, replaced by an eerie silence. As the light of the Tempest Pearl dimmed, Marie felt an overwhelming sense of exhaustion. Kilia caught her as she faltered, holding her steady. "You did it," Kilia said softly. Marie nodded, though her heart felt heavy. "But it's not over. The abyss may have retreated, but it hasn't been defeated. It will wait, biding its time. As they emerged from the trench, the ocean seemed brighter, its currents flowing with renewed vitality. The merfolk celebrated their victory, but Marie couldn't shake the feeling that the battle had only just begun. The abyss had revealed a deeper truth, one she couldn't ignore. The Tempest Pearl's power was a fragment of something far greater, and its fractured legacy carried untold consequences. Marie knew her journey was far from over. If she was to protect the ocean and its people, she would need to uncover the full truth of the Tempest Pearl, and face the secrets lurking in the abyss.